Hello, my name is Enzo from Holistic Life Network.
And I'm your co-host today, Isabel.
And our special guest is Ildiko Zambo. Very interesting personality. And so Ildiko, you're a practitioner, first of all, reflexology practitioner. You're a teacher and also an examiner. Mm-hmm. So tell us how this all works for you as a career.
First of all, I am a reflexologist. I specialize on the feet. I love the feet. And feet just tells you everything about the body. So that's really my passion. And I got into it by accident, and I just went deeper and deeper and deeper because it's a field where you just discover something and you're just so hungry, you want to go into more and more, and it's never ending. And so
it's a universe unto itself. How did you stumble into it? You mentioned, right?
Went online and I saw a course starting in 2 weeks from that day, and I said, well, that's something I'm going to jump onto it, and I did. And then my teacher was so passionate, Carol, which is just gave me a taste to feel it and see it, and I went into deeper, and she asked me, well, do you want to teach? Because I'm going to give a teacher course. I said, okay.
Wow,
and then,
like that?
Yeah, like that. A year after.
She saw the spark in you, obviously. She saw that you were hungry.
Whatever it was. Anyway, so then she told me, there is this Cranio-Sacral reflexology, which Dr. Martin Foralderson teaches, and she's coming here to Canada, and that should be a course that you should take. And I said, whoa, wait a minute, I just started with the basic course. I chickened out, put it this way.
Really?
Yes, I chickened out because I said, oh, I just learned something. I just finished the course, the class part. And right away she was coming. So I chickened out and I said, well, I'm just going to stay with this and I'm going to practice my basic course, what I just learned, and then I regret it so much.
Really?
I bought her poster and I was watching it every single day for the year she came back. Mm-hmm. And I said, I'm going to do this.
Yeah, because she only comes once a year.
She used to come only once a year. She's coming from London, England, right?
Yeah.
So I was watching and I was saying, I was going to do this, I was going to do this. And since then, I'm teaching for her. I opened her school here in 2013. So as of this September, I'm certified to teach the whole full course to graduation.
Mm-hmm. And could you, for the viewers, just mention the difference, because you're talking about two different styles. You're talking about the RAC style at the beginning and also the Cranio-Sacral style. Could you just talk a little bit about that and the differences?
I know I get this question all the time because people don't really know first of all, they don't really know what reflexology is to start with. Mm-hmm. They heard the name, but now you come in with Cranio-Sacral, what that is a different whole new story. But let's put it this way. Reflexology by the association, Canadian Association, is a basic reflexology where you learn all the systems of the body, how we treat it through the feet. Mm-hmm. You learn where the body parts are, where the systems are, how we put the whole body onto the feet. So no longer looking at a feet. So we're no longer looking at a foot like a foot. It's a whole mini person. Mm-hmm. Now when you go into, and then you treat organs.
So basically,
specifically, every organ, every body part has its own specific region on the feet, and you work it, you're stimulating it, and it's like sort of a massage inside, right? It goes very deep. But that's where it ends. When you go into Cranio-Sacral reflexology, is a different level. It's not any longer pressing these organs here or there. specifically, Dr. Martin Foralderson is an osteopath.
Okay.
And she put osteopathy, cranio-sacral therapy, and reflexology together. And all this together, what she developed, is really the main goal here as a cranio-sacral reflexologist is to make sure that the body fluid flows freely as much as possible. If there is, we're talking about lymphatic flow, we're talking about blood flow, and obviously we're talking about the craniosacral fluid,
Yes.
which is covering your central nervous system.
And what does it tell us, this fluid? Or
Now, this
What do you-
fluid is, we call it as breath of life. This is the fluid where all your existence comes together. It is your deepest core in the body. It's the most protected fluid in the body. And it's as unique as your fingerprint to every single person.
I just wanted to make it clear for the viewers. So the fluid that she's talking about is inside the head and also goes, it's like one big envelope. So it's the head and the whole sheath around your spine. So it really impacts on everything you do. And it even has its own pulse.
It has its own movement. We call it the primary respiratory mechanism. It's the respiration which gives you life. So therefore your soul, your existence, your everything is there, and this is a fluid. This is what remembers everything, and you can feel what's happening in the body through this fluid. Now in cranio-sacral reflexology we learn to tap into this fluid, feel this movement through the feet, and we develop senses that our fingertips will be able to read, feel, hear,
Excuse me.
everything what's going on in the body.
So we've been talking about the body, and just as a quick side note, something that's coming to me, question is, do you ever have someone come to you with, and who says, well, physically I'm okay, I don't have any health problems, but I've been feeling really down, and do you ever then, because the body, mind,
Spirit.
and spirit and emotional whatever connection is something that we hear and talk about more and more. So how does what you do tap into that? And what do you see beyond the emotion? Is there a connection that you see
For
on
sure.
the table?
For sure. First of all, how can someone not feel bad physically who's coming with an issue like that? If you feel down physically, you're not yourself, right? You cannot run around and do this because you're feeling down. So physically you are affected. And not only you physically affected, but you are affected emotionally, mentally, and spiritually at the same time. Because you cannot be who you are, you cannot be yourself. Now, it can be at a mental level, it can be emotional level, it can be a physical, but they all affect each other and they all work hand in hand. So you cannot have a clear mind if you're emotionally not stable, or you're physically not well.
And how does that translate physically on the table?
Here's the thing. You have a bad news. You get a bad news, right? It will affect your mind, how you feel, how you going. If you deal with it and you can deal with it properly, then it's not going to affect you emotionally. But if you don't, it will affect you emotionally. So it goes into a deeper level.
It can be stressed, it can manifest as
Stress is for sure.
Right. Tense the
And
body.
all this, if you don't deal with those, will end up physically in your body. So your body is really, really good to hide things for a while. So even though you don't really feel it, that doesn't mean it's not there.
Right.
But the funny part is through the feet, we can even see it before you feel it.
Fascinating.
So healing will take place on all three levels at the same time. Because once you feel better physically, is because you're gonna feel better emotionally, and you're gonna feel and think much clearer too. So really, true healing takes place in all three levels at the same time.
Right, which makes perfect sense because I think of people who, for example, were sedentary and all of a sudden they start to exercise, and then because they feel so good, then they pay attention to what they're eating, and then they have more energy.
It comes naturally,
more motivation,
right?
and it just spills into.
It just goes natural and works together natural. I have patients who were they were very unhappy, but more they connect to who they are, more they're able to be who they are and not be afraid of, what other people will say. Or when you're sure of yourself, you can be yourself and health comes back. Everything starts to work. Your boundaries will be there. You know how to guide and how to stand for yourself. Right?
Sounds like a great place to be.
It's the place to be. It has to be like that. Because health can only happen truly. You only gonna be healthy if you will be in this place.
Could you give the people watching an idea of what kind of condition someone would come to see you for?
Conditions can vary. Basically, lots of physical injuries. But physical injury can be very emotional also, right?
Yeah.
I have people who come with depression, with all kinds of issues, basically. This is good for everybody. There is no age limit, from newborn till somebody to the
I
last.
noticed that you do work with children. How is working with a child different, or what's the difference? Do you treat a child differently than you would an adult, or are the conditions that they come to you for?
Well, every person who comes is being treated individually. I don't do routines, I do individual treatments. So whatever that person needs in that moment, that's what we're going to go with. So yes, it varies.
This may sound like a very silly question, but I have children and they're very ticklish. So do people worry when they come to you and they, oh my God,
sure they do. Sure
don't
they do.
touch, don't come close.
Sure they do, but the touch what we do is very specific, so it's not a ticklish touch. And most of the time maybe they're ticklish at the very beginning because it's a memory, cell memory, and they all, soon you're getting close to their feet, they're already, even without touching, right?
Yes.
But when you really have, because it's a firm touch, and it's not a massage, it's very specific. And so they, as soon as they fall asleep, and most of the people will fall asleep.
I was going to ask that too.
Then there is no more ticklish feeling, right? So yeah, it's very relaxing.
So I actually, what I was wondering is very similar to what Enzo was asking you about. So I was on your website and I saw that you have a list of the different kinds of ailments or conditions or reasons why people might come to you, and they're quite varied. And I'm just wondering, is there any condition or ailment in particular that people would really benefit from coming to see you, but that they don't think of? Like they would never think that reflexology or
there's so many.
I'm sure there,
there is so many, but let's just see for sinuses. This is the season where everybody's going to get sinus infections or cold or flu or whatnot, right?
Right.
Cranio-Sacral reflexology is really working in the depth with the membrane, which is really an attachment. It's a dural membrane, which really inside the skull it's attached. This dural membrane is attached to the skull, and then in your first and second vertebrae, and then it's attached inside of your colon, vertebral colon I'm talking about. And it's attached to the sacrum. So whatever happens with your spine, a hit or whatever, everything will end up in this system. Everything. Sinus too. The facial bones, the sutures, they move. They have to move because of this fluid movement. So they're not stuck together. they're actually breathing. They're actually moving. And if there is a problem with one of these bones, either facial bones or cranial bones, which are not moving properly, will cause problems with sinuses. So you go and you get this oral spray or nasal spray or whatnot, or medication or whatever, and you're going to spend money on your whole life to do that, because it's never really going to, momentarily maybe it releases something, but you're never going to go to the roots of the problem and fix it.
So what you're saying is that any kind of trauma that the body registers can over time create these blockages or these...
Imagine if something pulls, and if it pulls on the bottom, it's going to pull and have a real big effect at the end. So whether it's at the head or whether it's at the bottom, doesn't matter. This will pick it up and this will suffer from it. Anything will happen. The body will not make any differences whether it's an emotional, a mental or physical trauma. It will absorb it the same way.
Which makes sense. So why is the foot the portal to all of that? That's a big question. But I'm curious. Why not? I know that it could be through the hands, the ears, and possibly somewhere else. But what is the significance of the foot or the feet?
Well, in a lot of so-called religions, foot is very special. It's very it's sacred. Foot is where we walk. It carries our body all day long. It connects to Mother Earth, right? It's a very sacred part of us, and the whole body is in it, holographically talking. And healing actually really takes place through Hering's law, natural law, healing law, is from head down. Okay. So everything really goes out to the body through our extremities, which are the feet.
Well, like you said, I think it's powerful, just the notion of the foot is our connection to the earth, and the earth is divine, and we always talk about the earth's potential to transmute things and to take any kind of negative energy, blockages, and transform it into something that can then be nourishing, for the rest of
how you feel will actually, how you feel inside will actually determine how your foot is. Whether you have crooked foot or you have whatever, it's not really about the foot, it's all about the body.
Right.
Right?
The foot is the mirror.
The foot is something in our body will always adjust throughout life. So however you feel, however your structure is, your foot will adjust itself to it. So if you go because you have hammer toe or you have anything in your body, it will show up on the feet. It will show up 100%. The feet is a mirror image of the body, 100%. So if we take care of ourselves, emotionally, mentally, physically, we're going to have beautiful feet. And it has nothing to do with age.
How do you mean? So are you saying that someone who's 80 years old can have spotless feet, or
it's not spotless feet, but
I'm exaggerating.
Yeah. But what I mean is, if you feel good, if you have a healthy life, if you live consciously, therefore you make the right decisions, what's right for you, what's right for my body. If you neglect your body, what you're gonna do? If you're stressful, if you eat not good food, right? Your lifestyle is really you're neglecting yourself completely, right? So it will show up in your body. Neglect. It's like you're getting further and further and further away from who you are, and you feel miserable because you're really not connected with your true self, and it shows up in the feet. So it doesn't that's why I'm saying it's not really age related.
Right. And comes back to what we were talking about earlier when I asked you about is this also relevant to people who are coming with emotional issues or whatever, and what's interesting is we're talking about something that's happening physically in the body, but we're also having a conversation about being true to ourselves and connected to our nature and our purpose. So I just find that really so encompassing and so cool that this addresses really the whole person, and it's not just a physical.
The whole person at the 3 level. So let's see, we have the Cranio-Sacral basic routine, which I teach, where you learn to readjust the posture of the body, readjust physically. Like we release tension from specific areas, especially from joints.
Right.
Because as interesting as it enough, if we're not feeling good about that ourselves and something blocks our mind and we cannot think properly, it blocks us emotionally too, right? But it will block us physically too. And where? In our joints. So that it will make us stiff and so we won't be able to move forward and do things. But more we get rid of all this, more flexibility comes back, right? Anything what to do with the body physically. Then we have a really good treatment for lymphatic drainage. Lymphatic drainage is your defense, but it's not just defense physically, like how your immunity will be, right? But how can I defend myself? Somebody who's under a lot of stress, somebody who is being bullied a lot, let's see, in school, and it's not necessarily a child, but it can be at workplace
For sure.
too, right?
I see that for sure.
So where is your defense? So your immune system will be very, 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 very weak. So you're going to get all kinds of sicknesses, you're going to get all kinds of flus, you can get everything because you don't know how to defend yourself. Not just physically, but emotionally, mentally also. That treatment actually was developed by Dr. Martin Alderson for cancer patients, on cancer patients. So
the
lymphatic, yes, the lymphatic, yes. They worked in 4 hospitals over 5 years. They did a study and they worked specifically on cancer patients because the only defense your body have is really your immune system. So when you make your immune system ready and you keep it strong, the immune system is capable to heal to heal the body, to defend the body, and it has the natural killer cells, what the thymus produces, right, teaches. And so your body has its own defense. Your body has the capacity to auto-regulate and auto-heal, self-regulate and self-heal. It does it every moment in our lives. We see it really well when we cut ourselves, right?
Yes.
How fast you heal, but it's the same thing inside, but we cannot see.
Right, it's not visible.
But the body has the capacity to do that. Yes, and then we have a really great treatment for cardiovascular. So anything what to do with circulation, anything to do with blood pressure, that addictions, that was developed with addictions.
See, this is the thing about reflexology is there's so many things that people can come to you for, but they wouldn't think of coming to you for those specific reasons. They would come for something else, but then get those systems tweaked and they would be, the healing is amazing. I think that part of the issue with reflexology is education.
Yes.
Because people just don't know what it is. No, if you say, I'm going to a massage therapist, no problem. They know exactly what it is, exactly what to expect. But with reflexology, people don't. And it's pretty sad, actually. So that's why I'm so glad that you're here.
Well, we have to teach it. We have to go out there and show it to people and you know, talk about it. You are a therapist, one of my students, but you know how important it is when people experience it. You can really appreciate it once you experience it. There's no other way.
And so what do people tend to experience in your observation when they leave or when they get off the table?
They experience something they never even thought exists.
Also, there is something I want to just slide in there. I've had a treatment from you where you didn't even touch my feet. And what I'm sort of leaning towards is you do have an intuitive ability as well. You do energy work, even though I don't think you would ever say that, but I think you have some kind of
I
skill.
do work intuitively all the time, yes.
I found that very cool. I mean, the combination, especially with the Cranio-Sacral, it lends itself more towards energy work than other techniques.
For sure. It's pure energy of the body of the patient. So you have to align it and center it all the time. So yes, it is an energy work in a way, but through touch.
You wanted to talk to us about the school, Dr. Alderson's school.
Yes.
So you'll be teaching her technique here?
Yes, I'm teaching her technique. The school is called For Alderson Academy of Cranio-Sacral Reflexology, Quebec.
Okay.
And it's open since 2013 actually.
And is it the only school in Quebec offering this kind of training?
Maybe in Canada,
Yes.
right?
We are two teachers who can teach the whole full, because with her they're 2-year program. So we can teach the first year and the second year fully all the way. And
2 years, so this is
2
quite
years program,
extensive.
yes, it's in an extensive. The first year is the basic, where we learn the basics. This is open to everybody who never touched the body, who never learned anything about the body. We start from the beginning.
Right.
And then they learn a really nice routine, very nice routine. And then the second year where we go into Cranio-Sacral work. And there we learn the basic Cranio-Sacral routine, then we learn the lymphatic routine, we learn the cardiovascular routine, and now we learn the hormonal routine. So basically, you touch the whole body. Hormones, who doesn't have hormonal issues, right? Everybody. Hormones determine our emotions. Hormones, who doesn't have? Cardiovascular, even somebody who have issues, who don't love herself or himself. Cardiovascular heart is all about love, right? Depression. Why you're depressed? Because you're really so detached.
Very detached, yeah.
You know, and so it doesn't, whatever, there is really no specific thing, although everything is very specific when you come, right? But it's so widely open and it really works. It's not invasive because you don't have to get naked, you don't have to feel, you know, you just have to take off your socks and then there you go. We can work through the hands too, that is more emotional. So if somebody is really deeply, let's see, I had a patient who just lost his wife all of a sudden without even, she wasn't even sick. So I go through the hands because the hand carries the energy of the heart. So I can go
It's
much
closer.
deeper. It's actually the energy of the heart. So I can go deeper and release that pain much faster. But then I can work through the head and not and adjust the bones through the head and work the craniosacral fluid from the head. So there is really no limit whether you have a broken leg or a broken arm. It doesn't stop me to work on you, right? And you're gonna get a really good result very fast.
And so for people who are find this interesting and fascinating and who are thinking, oh wow, I want to find out more and maybe even come to the school, Do you ever find that there are students who think, oh, am I going to be able to do this? Am I going to be able to even like, get the messages or interpret the fluid, the craniosacral fluid?
That's so exciting for everybody. You should see their face, how they light up when they actually feel it. It's the deepest part of your body, and you can tap into it, and you can really feel it like an ocean wave. But it really is coming in and coming out. It's like filling up and filling and emptying. And it's the most amazing feeling what you can actually feel and really go into it. So yeah, it takes some practice, it takes some time, but everybody can do it if you put your mind into it. Everybody can do it.
That's great.
That's what I like about it, is that you've given it 2 years, and with 2 years you can learn. I mean, Cranio-Sacral is amazing as it is, but it can't be just done in 2 or 3 weekends. I like the fact that it's 2 years, and it gives a student time to really
understand it, practice it,
yes.
Integrate it.
Yes, because it's not something that you can just go and oops, 1 weekend and I've done it. It's way more than that. Sometimes to develop those senses and really feel, we actually really tap into, we learn how to tap into every body part, because every body part has its own vibration. Every organ has its own vibration, and you learn how to feel into it and feel it. What's happening, where is the blockage, and you can actually feel it.
It's pretty incredible that we can learn that in that duration even.
Yes.
It's amazing. And you were going to say?
What I'm going to say is that when you're open to something, it's there. But we have to learn to listen to tiny little things. It's so subtle. It's no longer the big things anymore, but in life, I want the biggest, I want the big. Here we need to learn the tiniest. Because when you learn the tiniest little things, if I put my hands like this, right? I have a tiny little thing, but at the end, look at it. So it's like a cone, right? If a tiny little thing will create enormous effects, but an enormous effect will create basically not much at the end. So that's what Cranio-Sacral does. You go into, and it's something what you discover, and the curtain pulls away, and then you want to go deeper into it, and deeper and deeper and deeper. It's like never ending, because you always discover something and you go deeper. It's like, and you can never go back, because once you get to reach to a certain level where it's just so much more information. Imagine, I say this to everybody, imagine reflexology is really, really great. You start to swim. How excited you are when you start to swim, right?
Right.
But then you start to snorkel, right? Oh, there is a new world opened up. But then you do deep dive.
another new.
Then is a new world which you never even imagined exist.
Yes.
And that's where you go.
That we still know so little about too.
And that's where you go when you do Cranio-Sacral. You go deep dive into that body.
It sounds like, the dream practice for anyone who has a thirst, insatiable thirst for knowledge. So this to me sounds like heaven, that there's always more to learn and more to integrate and to go deeper. And
you never stop. And I call it as a happy circle, because you always come out with positive feelings, with positive effects, right? Nobody loses. I wanted to do this job because I wanted to have a happy circle. I'm happy because I gave something. I changed somebody's life. I helped somebody's life to get better. But that person is learning it so that it comes out joyful, because they understand that they are responsible to what happens to them, and what they put in their mouth, what they put in their body, it will affect everything, how they're going to take care of their bodies, whatever it's going to affect. So actually, it's a happy circle.
So if people wanted to contact you, do you want to list your website?
Yes.
What is the website?
www.easyreflex.ca.
And do you want to give an email?
Yes, it's easyreflex@videotron.ca.
Okay. And phone number or not?
450-218-1911.
And your practice is in Vaudreuil,
In
correct?
Vaudreuil, yes, but I do practice here as well.
We're in
here in
NDG
NDG.
right now, yes.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, Ildiko, thank you so much for doing
Yes.
this. It's been
Thank
a
you.
pleasure. And again, another practitioner that we could talk hours with.
Mhm.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.